Welcome to Shifting Focus. My name is John Bond, and I am so stoked for this episode. I don't know how it happened. I'm still pinching myself. I think it was real. I just interviewed Josh Huggett. He's based in Australia. He's blown up on the internet. 600,000 plus followers across all of his platforms. He's just been on the vendor table. He's just been on all kinds of podcasts. He's got his own podcast. He is unique. We'll say that. If you don't follow him already, I hope you do after this episode, but he speaks his mind. He doesn't hold back. He is truly himself, and I love that about him. And it was great to spend time with him today. I hadn't met him before, and honestly, I'm just so thankful he took the time to be on the show. So without further ado, let's hop into this week's episode with Josh Huggett. What's up, man? I'm John.
Hi, I'm still Josh.
Yeah.
Still Josh.
Yes.
I'm good. What time is it there? It's late now, isn't it?
No, it's 9 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, I'm very excited to hear all the things. You came out of nowhere for me, and then you're everywhere, and then I'm just like, okay, this guy, who is this guy? Who is this guy putting hot takes on the internet? And I love it. I love all of it. And so I appreciate you taking a chance with a half hour, 40 minutes of your time with a random American dude.
No worries at all. Any opportunity to talk. And I just, I'll try to go on as many podcasts and shows and anything as physically possible, because I just don't fucking care. Like, I'm still not an educator, so I can give out as much information as I ever want, because I've got nothing to sell you. I've got a beginner's call. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'll just I'm going on a podcast soon, and I reckon they get 10 viewers a show. But all it costs me is my time. And I'll just fucking sit here on Instagram anyway, so I'm doing something else.
Well, I appreciate your time. We got a couple more than 10 that listen, but maybe a dozen or two that listen. The goal with this to me is to help people see that there's more to weddings than just pretty photos, and get your take on what you've focused on to become you, and whatever that means. For me, I just would love to kind of know a little bit of just for the audience, like your story. I know you've probably told it 1,000 times, but who are you? Where are you? Why are you?
I'm Josh Huggett. I'm a wedding photographer from Adelaide, South Australia, which is, if you go to the middle of Australia and then you go all the way down to the bottom, that's where I reside. But I like to say now that's just kind of where my post gets sent, and that's where my kids are, because most weekends I'm in a different state of Australia traveling around for weddings now. I've been shooting weddings properly since 2017. We really took off post-COVID. There was like a real tipping point in that COVID era. So I was wedding photographer before COVID, but I still had a full-time job. And then we watched either people sink or swim during that COVID era. And we decided to swim. So while everybody was enjoying the time off, I completely rebuilt my business from the ground up and literally essentially scrapped everything and started again. And then, we were a studio here in Adelaide. We were shooting 125 weddings a year. We were shooting up to 6 weddings a day. We had 30-something photographers and videographers that worked underneath us. And then I decided to pack all of that in and take content creation seriously. But we were still doing studio work, but we started posting on social media properly 2024, beginning of 2024. Now we have 600 and something thousand followers across all platforms, 225 on Instagram. Yeah, it's just fucking, just a little life.
Yeah, so today you're, like you said, after COVID really took it seriously. I'm going to dig into social media, because if you guys don't follow Josh on social media, you're missing out, because he will invoke a reaction in some way or shape or form, and I love it. And I just love watching people, when they're just being themselves and not trying to be an imitation, I know that I fail a lot where I'm like, oh, I'm going to be that guy on the internet. I'm going to be that guy. And I really started doing the same, taking myself seriously a little bit more on my brand last year at this time, and have been daily in social media posting, like just sharing my stories. And now my schedule's more full than ever with more of my ideal people that I want to work with and just cool people. And I think there's this just myth around like, oh, you've got to be a luxury filmmaker or photographer, and you got to do these things the way these people did it. And I think you just come in there and you kind of drop a bomb in the middle of that with people and just say, no, that's not what I'm going to do. And it's worked for you. And so today you said you've rebuilt everything. What does the studio look like now? What does the team look like now? Is that still the 20 plus people and all of that? Or like, what does the business look like?
So we did a shift. So we've always operated under Joshua Huggett Media, which is for people watching the video, it's the big logo in the back here. We've always operated under that. It started as a personal brand, then it turned into a studio, and now it's back being a personal brand. So when we started properly kicking off on Instagram, and I was like, oh, maybe this is going to go somewhere, it got to the point that, for those of you that don't know, I'm a bit more of a personality hire for weddings. So it got to the point that my personal brand was too strong to send my associates. I've got some great associates here, and like Neil and Jake and Lewis and all these people, but they're not me. They're great people. They're great photographers. They make sure that the couples have a fantastic time, and they really uphold the company like ethos, but they're not Josh. So I'm more than happy to tell people to get fucked. I'm more than happy to move your family members out of the way if they're in the wrong spot. Everybody else is just a bit nicer. I'm 6'6" and covered head to toe in tattoos. Neil he calls himself my minority hire because he's fucking 5 foot gay Filipino. Like we're very different people. So now they have their own brand. I made a clear separation from Joshua Huggett Media and us. So I went a whole year without booking any associates. So there's a clear gap in the calendar. And now, as of maybe 3 months ago, we launched the Candid company, which is just the Candid Co., which is essentially all of my associate shooters, but with their own brand now, so that we can run them through there. And we filter all of our leads because we get 100 leads a week here for me to come and shoot their wedding, which I can't do all of them. So we filter them through to the Candid Co. And then now that's just about to hit 6 figures of income. 6 months in, 3 months in.
Wedding filmmakers, do you know the feeling? You've got a mountain of footage and backlog that just won't quit. That's where Wanderlust Videos comes in. Their team can handle it all, from import to export, and my favorite part, they nail my style and color grading every single time. It's like having an extension of my own creative brain. Head to john-bunn.com or check the show notes for 10% off your first order. Wanderlust Videos. Stop drowning in edits and let them take your films to the next level. I think 2020 really messed a lot of people up, that it was people pretending to be so perfect, and the feeds were curated, and it was just so like keeping up with just this perfection. And I think something just, blew up after 2020 where people were like, screw this, I'm just going to be me. And like you saw a lot of people just really express themselves. And there's just something about it whenever you are uniquely just yourself, especially on the internet, that attracts people that you really want to work with. And so you said you really started taking it serious in 2024, and now you're getting 100 leads per week. You're 600K followers across all platforms. I follow you mainly on Instagram, been watching. You're posting all kinds of different stuff. You're not worried about anything curated. You're not worried. Like you are posting 360 cam type things where you're all distorted. You don't care. It's not about just this perfected photo. What is it about for you that gets you excited to be doing what you're doing?
So back to when we were talking about 2020,
Yeah.
what you said kind of triggered something in my little head that I hadn't had a thought of before, but I'll say it now. I think what happened is that, so 2020 came, COVID happened. People couldn't get married
Yeah.
and there was no weddings. Weddings were cancelled. Then they kind of like, and I presume this was the same in America. Everybody, everywhere in the world was sort of similar. But then you had this era where you could have a small wedding and you had to really pick who you wanted to be there. So you could only have 6, 10, 12 people at your wedding day because it was all numbers. So people were then having to hire photographers for those weddings because we then became far more important being wedding photographers. But people started worrying less about how amazing these photos were and figuring out if they actually wanted to spend time with that person. You know, you've only allowed 12 people in a room.
Mm-hmm.
You're sacrificing one of those spots to get a photographer. Do you want them to be someone that you like enjoy hanging out with? Or do you risk one of those super important 12 spots and hire a fuckhead, but they take nice photos? Like there's a real, and that's kind of where we have always tried to put ourselves out there. And that's why, and like lean straight into the next bit about like, we take good photos. I'm absolutely not the best photographer in Australia. I wouldn't probably even be in the top fucking 4,000 photographers in Australia. But I'm all about client experience. All we focus on is client experience from the start to the end. I want to make sure that my clients have the best wedding day physically possible at all times. So that leans into us having a solid timeline so that we never need to be stressed about things going over. We have a solid photography like image catalog that we know that we can take pretty much the same photos. We've got like 10 solid poses so that we're not wasting time on the wedding day where they could then just be with their friends and family. So we can literally walk into the wedding day, we can go get the photos, and then they can go and have fun with their friends and family. And all of that comes down to client experience. And that's essentially what we're posting on Instagram and all that sort of stuff as well. It doesn't need, because we're not trying to market the best wedding photographer in Australia, I'm marketing that I'm going to come to your wedding day and make sure that you have fun. I can post whatever the fuck I want. People want authenticity more than they want anything else. So long as you've got a good catalog. Like, I say this to my couples as well. Like, you could have the best wedding photographer in the world. They could take award-winning photos that go on people's walls and you know, like maybe they get put in art galleries and they're just the best photo you've ever seen. But if on the wedding day they were a fuckhead to be around or they're an arsehole and you didn't want to be anywhere near them, then you're going to look at all of those photos with a negative light because all you're going to remember is the bad experience that you had at the time. And this leans into photographers trying too many things on a wedding day as well, like especially new photographers. And they come to a wedding day and they're like, right, you know, and I understand that it's their first wedding or their second or third wedding, and you want to try to get as much content as possible because you can use that to market and go forward. But if you're trying too many things and it becomes clunky, then you're going to ruin your client's experience. And and then you'll also ruin your experience because the client won't be happy and you'll stain the industry for yourself. I mean, I can keep going, but that's essentially it. We just post stuff.
Yeah, I was teaching a panel 2 weeks ago, and one of the questions in the crowd is like, what level does experience have to do with your brand? Like, where does client experience fit into your brand? And I literally said, client experience is my brand. I just so happen to also take photos and videos. And we are in the service industry, and what I see with what you do, and I don't want to like assume, but what I see that you do is you truly care about your people, and you're a personality, and you're fun to be around, and you're standing on top of things and telling people to move and telling people to have a drink, and you're not wearing your typical suit and tie at the wedding. You're just you, fully you, and attracting people that see you and say, heck yes, I want him at my wedding. And so it creates this momentum. And I think you're obviously feeling that momentum. Most people aren't willing to put in the work to get to the momentum, is what I've noticed. So rewind me back to like when you decided, okay, I realize I'm going to go all in on social media. I'm going to shift my focus to that. Like your galleries were good, your catalog was great, you knew how to shoot weddings, you have all this skill that's needed, the art. And then there's the other side of the tension, which is like the business, but like to become you in this industry where, you know, you're kind of a household name in the industry at this point across the globe. You're getting hundreds of thousands of followers. All these different things are great. And people are like, that's cool. I want 200,000 followers or whatever. But I don't think it's about the follower number for you as much as it is truly being you. But when did it like click for you? What did you shift your focus towards to say, I don't care what the number is. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z because this is the direction I'm going. What advice would you have for the listeners of how you even got moving towards your 100 inquiries a week right now?
So my story is different because I had a trauma experience. So when I was 23, 24, I was seeing a girl and she was 21. That would be it because we're about 3 years apart. She was 21 years old. She was healthy as fuck. She was vegan. She used to go hiking. She went outside all the time. She was happy. She just like had this complete carefree life where she would just do whatever she wanted at all times, and she was just like living her best life possible. And then one day she just didn't wake up. She had an aneurysm. Her name was Inga. She had an aneurysm. She passed away, and I had this moment a couple of days after. It was like I found her and I went, whatever. That's a whole bunch of shit, but I had this like, you could literally be dead tomorrow. There is like absolutely the only thing certain in this life is death and taxes, and you could literally just be dead tomorrow. Why the fuck am I wasting my time caring about what other people think about me, or caring about like wearing a suit to a wedding? Like, oh, what if somebody, you see in these Facebook groups and stuff, and people are like, oh, I'm so scared that if somebody sees me having a drink with lemon in it, then maybe they think I'm drinking alcohol on the wedding day and that person won't book me. Like, what a fucking mindset to have, that you're so scared that somebody else may not book you rather than just being yourself. If that person sees me with a lemon wedge in my drink and that's enough to turn them off me, I don't want to be at their fucking wedding. I don't want to be there. I want to be at the person that sees me with a beer and goes, fuck yeah, let's do that. I want that guy. That's where I want to be. They're going to treat me the nicest. They're going to be my ideal clients. They're going to be the people that I want to be around. So I've kind of followed that ethos for 10 years now, into pretty much everything I do. It's a little bit different now. I have to do it at a slightly lesser rate because I've got kids and stuff now. So it's not as much of a could be dead tomorrow, let's spend the last $20 in our bank account.
Sure.
There has to be a little bit more stuff. But even then with my kids, I'm trying to implement it in my kids as well. Like, make sure that, you only get 80 summers or whatever it is. Like, make sure you make the most of those 80 summers that you get. If it's and it's a bit harder now that my daughter's in school and she's really, really good at school. She loves it. But if it was like a Wednesday afternoon and it was sunny outside, let's just go to the fucking beach. Like, let's just pack up. Who cares? What happens if we get like in a bus crash tomorrow? What if we're walking across the road and someone like could be dead tomorrow? No point stressing about the small stuff. So then we take all of that into our business. We take all of that into our couple and client experience as well. You get one wedding day. You're going to wake up tomorrow and the wedding day is going to be done. You may as well have the most fun possible. Most people only get married once. The ones that do it twice normally do the opposite of what they did the first time. Some people get married way more than that. But like statistically, if you have a big first wedding, you're going to have a small second wedding. If you have a small first wedding, you have a big second wedding. So if you're planning one big wedding, have the fucking best day physically possible. And so we just try to implement that into our couples, into our photo shoots, into everything that we do. Could literally just not be here tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I can't imagine going through that. I mean, I think that early on I did lose a lot of people in my life, and video cameras were always like a big part of my childhood. VCR, just that kind of stuff growing up in the 90s. And I just turned 40, so whatever that means. But growing up in the 80s and 90s, and losing my grandma that was super close to me, and then losing my uncle, and losing my dad passed away in 2020, and traumatically quickly. And it was just like, I talked to him, next day he's gone. And you're just like, what am I supposed to do with that? And it changes things. And then now my two kids, my older one's 15, about to go into the ninth grade in high school here. And, it's difficult. Like, she's worried about things. And I'm like, why are you worried about that thing? That doesn't matter. These people, you're going to graduate in 4 years and go on and do your thing. And like, what I have found in this industry, I think so, is that so many people take themselves so seriously, and they're so romantic about their thing, and you're doing it wrong if you're doing it your way. And I think what broke open after really over the last 10 years or so is that, like, there are enough people out there. Like, Instagram didn't exist whenever I started my business, and you literally went to bridal shows and bridal fairs and like market, and you marketed on Google. Maybe you could do a Google ad, but like, you couldn't just show up to your whole country or people all over the world. And I think that what happened over the last 10 years is people have realized, oh, the more that I'm truly me, the more I'm going to attract more people like me. And for me, I'm very nostalgic and very like driven by capturing these things for people and helping them to not worry about the stupid crap during a wedding day, or, the bride's freaking out about whatever, and me just pulling her aside and just saying, hey, come on now. Like, you're about to get married. That's why we're here. Who cares that you can't find your vow book? Make them up on the spot or whatever it is. And I see that in what you do. And what's interesting is like the couples that, like, I would usually see you doing that and think, well, he's doing that and being successful, so that's now what I need to do to be successful. I need to be exactly like Josh, and I need to act like him. And it's like, that is the worst thing I could do, because I'm not you. And it was a process of self-discovery for me to realize, what do I even like? Like, who do I even like? What do I want to be around? What do I not? What did I hate about these weddings? And it takes a little bit of time for most of us to get there. And for some of us, the tragic loss of somebody or things like that, you're hit in the face with your mortality. And it's just like, no way, I'm going to just live my life for other people. And I see that in your everything that you do. And you're even, responding to other photographers that are calling you out about other things, or just, you're not like, I mean, I think you maybe enjoy a little bit of the back and forth, but I don't think you're like waking up choosing, like, I'm going to go get into a fight with this person today about this topic. But you're more calling out like, hey, this is stupid to be wasting your time on this thought or whatever. You really have leaned into that thing that is you over the last couple of years. And that has paid off huge for you. I think so. Not only in your bank account, but like the quality of your work, the kinds of couples you're working with. What insights can you give people to help them figure out who they are? Insights for people that are out there trying to figure out how to be their best version of themselves, besides just, you could die tomorrow, but like, practically, is there anything that comes to your mind?
I think people just need to say what's actually on their head more. And that's what I try to do pretty much all day, every day. I don't really have a filter. There's so much, especially in the educator space, where like everything is so curated. You say the things because you know that's what the other people say, and you say those things because you know it converts to X, Y, and Z, and there could be more views. Just like, I was speaking to some people recently, and they were like, "Oh, geez, I'd love to say what you say."
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you fucking do it? Like, if it's in your head, just say it. Just say the things. Say the things that are on your head. Like, and it's obviously not for everybody. Not everybody can handle backlash the way that I handle backlash, and I'm okay with it. And I'm also quite self-aware in that if negativity starts affecting me in any way, I just put my phone down. I go and cut some grass. If I come back and I'll just say whatever's sort of on my mind. But I think people need as long as you're not coming out saying racist stuff and you're not an actual shit person. But
Right.
even then, if you
Right.
are a bad person and you have bad ideas, say them so that you never book any more weddings ever again and you fuck
It
off.
works. It
But
works on both sides. Yeah.
it works both ways. So regardless of what happens, I think everybody should just say what's on their mind at all times. And then it's just, we're going to have this separation. And the good people will get more work because they'll see their authentic selves online. I say whatever's on my head at all times. And this is, again, probably not what educators should be saying. But I'm not an educator. I'm just a wedding photographer from Australia.
I'm thinking about my wife right now, and if I said everything that was on my mind, I don't know if that would. I don't know if that would play well for me, Josh. I'll get
Talking to your wife is very different from talking on the internet. With your
true.
wife, your partner, you say exactly what you need to get through the day.
Okay, I knew you were a wise guy. I knew you were wise. No, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like, yeah, if people are out there, they should say, I mean, for me, like the kinds of clients that I'm working with and the kinds that I want to work with, I don't hold back. But also there's certain things that's like, I'm not talking about that specific thing on my feed for this brand. Like I've got to know, I'm not like out here, mad at somebody because the vendor meal sucked in the last wedding I did and calling out that venue because it sucked and they were crap to work with. It's just like, I'm going to let every bride know that venue sucks to work at, but I'm not just like going to make some kind of big public declaration of my hatred towards something or anything like that.
But so you don't go out and like start talking shit on other photographers. Like, don't go out and be like, "Oh, I worked with like in John and he was an asshole." That's not. That's just spitting negativity for the sake of spitting negativity. But if you've got an opinion on sunset photos and you're like, "Hey, I don't actually like taking sunset photos. I think I'd rather take some nice photos of you throughout the entire day," put that out into the ethos. And then the people that also agree with you will come to you and you'll attract those types of people rather than you holding that opinion in and then people seeing some of your sunset photos and then only getting all of these people that want to go out for an hour at sunset. You're just building a brand and you're building a client base that doesn't match what you kind of want to be doing. I talk about like cameras and that sort of stuff, but I again sit in a weird little space on the internet that half my audience is people that want me to book them to get their wedding done, and the other half of the audience is people that are photographers, and there's like some people in there as well that are literally just following because it's entertaining content. So I'm a weird little hodgepodge, and I would be very cautious of photographers going out and making content about photography stuff, because then you're going to change your audience and maybe you'll get more views. Like if you just started posting a review of this camera and you're like, "Yeah, I love this camera's great," your audience is going to shift and the algorithm's going to shift and your content's not going to get pushed out to the people you want it to get pushed out to. People think that if they want to be a wedding photographer on the internet, they need to start talking about their cameras and stuff, but that just makes you a gear guy. That doesn't make you a wedding photographer. So that's why all of my content that does well, and some of the reels that we post aren't designed to go viral, but they are designed to book clients, is still wedding based. It's still wedding photographer stuff because I'm a wedding photographer and that's what I want to be. If I wanted to pivot into education and just be an educator, I would have to change my entire content creation process and make entirely different content based on where I want to sit in the algorithm.
I watch you for all three of those things, where it's like, I'm entertained. What's he going to do next? It's like watching a TV show. It's fun, entertaining. And it's like, oh man, you hear you say things or reels that you post. I'm like, man, he said that in a way that I've been trying to get that out. Now I'm going to go share that with my buddy or whatever. And then as far as like gear and education, like that kind of stuff, hearing and seeing what you're doing, those sort of things. So like you really got into like, how does it practically work, I guess, so for you? You're putting out a lot of content and you've been doing it consistently for 2 years, a year and a half, whatever. When did you see like a shift? How did that work for you? Like what is your mindset towards social media practically in a week? Like how are you doing what you're doing practically? How are you getting all these posts out there? What are you thinking about? Do you have a team? Is it just you? Any of that you'd want to share?
So, straight off the bat, I'll tell anybody that listens to this that you don't need to post a reel a day, 2 reels a day, 3 reels a day, a reel a week to be a full-time photographer. That's not something you need to do. It's actually quite counterproductive to put so much time and effort into making reels to post online because it's not actually targeted to anybody. You're literally spending an hour making a reel and then throwing it into the internet and hoping that it lands on the feed of somebody that is maybe looking for a wedding photographer and may be interested in you. What you're far better off doing is spending that hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, making 5 to 10 pieces of wedding photography content and then making a targeted Facebook ad campaign using the exact same content. So that way you can use the content that you have. So what you should be doing, an actual physical strategy for somebody who is starting in wedding photography and you want to make this your job, make 12 reels, 12 to 13 reels. That could be anything. It could be behind the scenes. Could be you giving photography tips. It could be you giving timeline tips or something along those lines. Something about weddings, because that's what we're going to target it to. You're going to make 12 pieces of content. You're going to post them one a day, every day at the same time. So that way you can keep it consistent. You know that the time's not affecting anything. Post them at 7:30 p.m. every single day. Find which piece of content does the best. They're all going to get minimum 200 views, 220 views, or whatever the algorithm thing is. If one of them gets 300 views, 350 views, that piece of content is better than all of the other pieces of content. So you just need to figure out why. So you figure out why that piece of content is better. Maybe you had a better hook. Maybe you had a better visual. Maybe it was education. But then make 2 to 3 more pieces of content the same as that one there. And then you can go down this for fucking months and months and months. And that's when you get 10,000, 20, 40, 50,000 views. Or you just take that little piece of content that did well or did a little bit better than the other pieces of content, make some more content around that, and then run it as a targeted Facebook ad campaign to engaged couples in your area, and you can become a full-time wedding photographer. You don't need to be posting into the ethos every single day, hoping it lands on things, because normally it's just going to go out into the algorithm, and it could land on literally anybody's feed. My videos land on fucking everybody's feed, and I'm hoping that it eventually lands on somebody that's maybe looking at getting a wedding photographer, and then it comes in. The way that we make content, unfortunately, I haven't found anybody that can edit my stuff as well as I edit it. So I sit here for hours and hours and hours and edit and edit and edit. And then we use platforms like Repurpose.io and later.com to push that content out to the world. So I just make the content. I make it one time. I sit here with my Insta360 app and I'll edit my reels and I'll make them up. And then I push that onto later.com, which is a content scheduling platform where you can schedule months of content at a time. So I'll sit in this dark studio for 7, 8, 9 hours and just edit reels for a whole day. I'll just sit here and I'll listen to myself talk for an entire day, and then I schedule them all out, and I can get like a month's worth of content made, like 1 reel a day every day, schedule it out, and then I use Repurpose to take that piece of content from Instagram and share it to all of the other platforms. So that way it's shared automatically to Facebook, it's shared to TikTok, it's shared to YouTube, without me having to do anything. So I'm not double handling any of the content that I'm putting out there. Same with the podcast episodes, like all the podcast clips. I sit here and I'll record a podcast. I then take that podcast and I put it into Opus Clip, which is another AI editing software. So it'll take the clips, and it makes them and edits them for you, and then you just share those through later.com as well. It's all scheduling. Schedule everything, because if you're trying to think of a piece of content, make a piece of content, post a piece of content, and then wake up the next day and have to do it again, you're just going to burn yourself out, or you'll go 2 weeks without posting anything because you couldn't think of anything. Whereas get a creative spurt, make a bunch of stuff, put it on the internet.
Yeah, that's super helpful, and I think our audience will very much appreciate that. Shifting gears a little bit, I want to be respectful of your time as well, but like, I think that like where I'd like to pick your brain is where you're seeing things with photographers that the things that you constantly see that people are wasting their time on, not only social media, but if they were to, like, they're focusing on the wrong things, or maybe you were focusing on the wrong things for a while, and you've changed what you're thinking about and different things like that. I know you do education, you talk to a lot of photographers, you're at camps, you're all these things. What are you seeing that is either, that is hitting you and you're just like, oh my gosh, why do these people keep freaking doing this? Or is there something that you see that people need to stop focusing on that maybe would help them today?
Compilation reels. You know those ones when everybody takes like 4-second video clips of the whole wedding day? Like they go to a wedding and they're like, oh, here's the sign, here's the venue, here's the couple, here's this, and they put it all together with shit music, and they're like, oh, I had so much fun at Sam and fucking Stephen's wedding on the weekend, and it was great. No one cares. No one's watching it. That's a waste of time. You wasted your time. You waste, like, nobody's going to watch it, and they're like, oh, I posted a reel and it didn't do well. It was a bad reel, bad piece of content. You need to go to a wedding day, and I try to think of like 3 to 4 pieces of content that I can get from one wedding, but just go to a wedding or even a shoot, even if you're just doing an engagement shoot or a family session, and just think of one piece of content that you can get out of that and execute one piece of content well, then rather than taking a whole bunch of 4-second clips and hoping it does okay, because it just won't. Single piece of content that's very easy to make. Walk into the wedding. Find something that you like at that wedding. It could be the cake. It could be the flowers. It could be the cake topper. It could be how the chairs were set up. It could be the color scheme. Literally anything. Whatever you see, you walk in there. One of my really well-performing videos, I got like 3 million views, was just a kids' play center in the wedding. It was like a little kids' corner. 3 million views. Walk into the wedding day. Here's the cool. You don't even have to fucking talk in this. Here's the coolest thing I saw at a wedding today. Here's something interesting I saw at a wedding. And then just show a video clip of the thing that you think is good with what it is as a caption. A kids' play center. This, and then the longer caption, this kids' play center was great because it meant that the kids weren't running around. They actually had a babysitter there, blah, 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 blah. And it was done by, and then tag the company. You are putting yourself as an authority in the industry because people are going to see that piece of content and they're going to go, they don't know. That could be your first ever wedding. But if that turns up on somebody's feed, they won't know that it is your first wedding. All they know is you're at a wedding. You're there. You're a photographer at a wedding. It could be your first wedding. It could be your 700th wedding. They won't know from that piece of content. So you're already making yourself an authority in the industry. This guy is so good at his job. He doesn't actually need to market himself. He's marketing other people through his platform. And you're just being helpful to other people. That's a piece of content that someone's actually going to share with their friend. They've got a friend getting married and they have kids. Great. This is the piece of content that they can have. That company is going to share it on their Instagram account because they got tagged. Then the person that shared it is going to be like, they're going to see it and they're going to be like, oh, wow. Oh, it's a photographer. Oh, wow. These people are actually in our area. And they'll see it. It's a piece of shareable content that can go to everybody rather than like, book me as your photographer because I'm really good. And then everything's an ad all of the time. People are so aware of being marketed to these days. It's not the same as like when user-generated content used to, when it was new and nobody knew that we were being marketed to. Everybody knows that everything is an ad all of the time. So if you're going to make the ad, it may as well make it for somebody else. so that you still come across as genuine rather than just a salesman.
You know how much I love shooting weddings, but you know what I don't love? Wasting hours culling and editing. That is why I use Imagine.ai. It's literally learned my style. It culls my photos, edits them, and even opens them in Lightroom with the sliders exactly where I'd want them. And now they're in beta for video color grading, which is an absolute game changer. Stop wasting time and get back to doing what you love. Check the show notes to grab 1,500 free edits today. You can tell, Instagram story or anything, a reel where it just feels like an influencer trying to be like, I love this product, you should check it out. Here's the link in my, comment the word this. The shareable stuff, just being real, being in the moment, seeing things you like. I know I have spent hours. I've spent hours making video reels and different things and making it, it's like, as a wedding filmmaker, it's like you could post your teaser that you spent a week on and it's like 2,000 views. And then you post a dad sneezing weird while he's handing his bride to their spouse. And it's like when dad gets all sneezy and it's a 2-second clip and you put it on there. It's from your phone or your Ray-Ban glasses or your 360 or whatever it is. And it's like that kind of stuff is the introduction. And I think so many of us don't think, they think checkers. They're not thinking chess. They're not thinking like, oh, I am this brand and I need people to feel what this brand is and be entertained by this and be whatever, fill in the blank. And that will attract the right people in, instead of just being like, I'm Josh Huggett. I do this. I'm a photographer. I will make your day great. Hire me. Here's some photos. And so I think that if I could leave one thing with listeners is just the power of the client experience, the power of not trying to oversell, and the confidence of thinking 2, 3, 4, 5 months ahead, as opposed to, I got to put out something today. I've got these clips on my phone. I'll just hope that it works out okay. How big of a role would you say that like treating social media as your part of your full-time job, like taking it really seriously? If somebody is a solo entrepreneur, they're a mom or a dad out there and they're like, that's great. I only do a handful of weddings. I need some momentum. I need like the social media side of things. How serious should people be taking this? How much time should they be thinking about? How much effort should be going into it if they're not getting any traction? What are tips that you have for people that aren't trying to get 200,000-300,000 followers? They're just trying to get the right people in their 30 to 40 weddings booked per year. What would you say to them?
See, and this is where I don't really fit in with pretty much everybody else in the space. I don't think people need to be focusing on social media. I don't think they do. I just, like, I do because I wanted global reach. I've always been educating people. So that's why we made the conscious decision to start growing on social media. I don't think people need to do it. For the average photographer, the person that just wants to book their 30, 40 weddings a year in their town and they just want to be a full-time wedding photographer, I think their time, effort, and money is far better spent on other forms of marketing rather than social media. Social media is great for the global reach. If you want to become an influencer, if you want to become a national photographer that travels all around the country, it's actually not that much fun. I do it. It's not that great. But if you want to be, like traveling sucks. You don't know traveling sucks until you actually do it. But if that's what you want, if you want accolades, if you just want followers, if you want to be this person that like has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers, then yeah, you need to spend a lot of fucking time on social media. You need to get your reps up. You need to find the content that works for you. But for the other 99% of people out there that just want to be a normal wedding photographer and just shoot weddings in their area, you can just focus on other marketing. You can focus on targeted ads. You can focus on being aware, like in your Facebook groups. We were shooting 125 weddings a year with 2,000 followers on Instagram. We had 2,500 followers. We were shooting 125 weddings a year because we had a solid targeted ad space campaign. So we were targeting people that were engaged and they lived in our actual area, and we were active in the Facebook groups. Your local Facebook wedding group where people were like, I'm looking for a photographer, and there's 60 comments in there. Be in that comment section. You may not book that wedding, the person that inquired, like that made the post, but there's going to be 40 to 50 other brides that are reading that comment section. So if you make your comment good, hey, so, like everybody's comment on this, and I teach this at workshops, everybody's comment is like, love for you to check out what I do, and the link to their website. We used to post a video. I'd post a 20-second video of me being like, hey, Josh Huggett here from Josh Huggett Media. Just check my calendar. I've got that date available. I'd love to come to your wedding day. If you would like your photos to look like this, and I would fling up some photos that we took at a recent wedding, then just hit inquire. I've got that date available. We focus on fun, candid photos and making sure that we all have a really good time. I'll put some more photos in the comment section, but I've got that date available and I would love to be there. And then I would reply to myself and I would put 4, 5, 6 photos from the most recent wedding that we've done. And I would just comment that with a big caption that was like, congratulations on your engagement. That's so exciting. We focus on fun, candid photos. We want to make sure that you have a really good time. Here's our website. Here's our Instagram. Send me an email and I'll send you a full gallery. So where everybody, again, where you're saying people are playing checkers and we're playing chess, there is no other industry in the world, where the customer asks for you to market to them. They're literally saying, I need this service. Put your ad in front of me so that I can book. That doesn't happen anywhere in the world. That doesn't happen in any industry. Don't fuck it up. They're literally asking for you to market to them. So these Facebook comment sections can make you upwards of 6 figures just by being in there. And, you sit in there, you can be a little bit helpful in some other things. That way you'll get like top contributor badges and that sort of shit inside the Facebook groups. But I just used to have the notifications turned on to that group. I would have it so that every time somebody would post in that group, it would ping on my phone. I'd quickly check it. Nah, it's not for photography. I put my phone down. But as soon as somebody was like looking for a photographer, I'd check it. I knew that we were available because I can fucking shoot 6 weddings a day. Mm-hmm. So I could post the same thing. Post the video, post some photos, and then I'm marketing for all those other people that are in the comment section. So social media is important, yes, because that is your portfolio. That is what people are going to check. So make sure that you're on social media. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you're posting your photos and they look nice. Make sure you're telling people a little bit about you, but you can do that in a pinned post these days, which makes it heaps easier. Pinned post, this is me. This is a little video about me. But rather than spending 9, 10, 12 hours a week making reels and being like, this isn't going anywhere, now I don't have any bookings, spend 9, 10, 12 hours a week in the Facebook group, spend 2 hours a week in the Facebook group, and then spend fucking 10 hours a week serving coffee at Starbucks and earn money to put into a Facebook ads campaign so that you can actually market to the people in front of you.
It's so interesting to me as I've talked now, and I've worked with probably 400 photographers as a filmmaker, and I'm working with somebody new, and you see certain people and you interact with certain people that think that they're a really big deal, and sometimes they have a big following, and that has kind of been the thing that everybody just like started like minions walking towards, like, well, we all need to be like them because they have a big follower group and then meanwhile I'll meet people that like have a very small following, but they're charging big bucks and they're fully booked. They're happy as can be. Nobody knows who they are. No one's asking them questions about their gear or anything like that. And they're living their best life. They're happy as can be. And I think that for me, with a personality like yours, it just helps me remember like what makes me happy. What do I want to be doing? Like I should be doing something I want to be doing with this business. And like, just because Josh has this many followers doesn't mean that that's what I should try to do. Like, you're doing your life, living your version of success and leaning towards it. And I want to encourage the listeners that it takes time to figure out what you want, but then lean into that and don't try to be somebody else. And for me, it's always encouraging to talk to other people that are doing different things over the years of doing these podcasts, is because it's like, oh, I don't have to be him, but I can learn from him. I can learn what he's doing right, what would work for me. I've taken a ton of notes from you talking today. It's like, oh, that's a good point. But most people want to just try to do the thing that's easy. They're not willing to put in the work. They're not willing to figure out the hard stuff. They're just like, it's not working for me. I never talk to anybody that's on your side of the Zoom call that's like, yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't working. So I quit. That, like, you figured it out. You're focusing on things that are taking you to where you want to go. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to give you a chance. Any final thoughts, any things you want to make sure that we hit? And you mentioned your podcast a little bit. I know you're like, I don't need to promote that or whatever, but I'd love for you to tell us about some of the things that you're up to so my audience can follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, final parting wisdom for you photographers, wherever you are in the world. Your follower count, so long as you've got maybe 1,000 followers, means fuck all. The more followers that you get, the more pushback you're going to get from clients. I remember when I was planning my wedding, and when I say that, I mean when my wife was planning our wedding and I was near her, my job was to hire a photographer. That was my job, because that's my job. So that's why I had to do it. And when we were looking at photographers, I remember going to a photographer's account and they had 13,000 followers. And my initial instinct was, oh, they're probably too expensive. Or, oh, they're probably too booked out, because they've got that K next to them on Instagram, 13K. And I was like, they're probably too expensive for me. We'll go with someone cheaper. We'll go with someone closer to our budget. And we had a reasonable budget. We were spending in Australia, like, we spent $6,500, which is mid-market in Australia. We're not looking to, because we're not luxury. I know it's hard for you to believe, but I'm not a luxury person. We were in that mid to top mid bracket. So we had a decent budget, but there was an initial pushback because he had 13,000 followers. I was like, oh, he probably is too expensive. He's probably booked out. Why would he want to come to our wedding? But so long as you've got enough followers that you've got social proof, 400 followers is friends and family, up to 1,000 followers is like pretty good. That's why we sat at 2,500 followers. I didn't want any more. We made absolutely no effort to grow on Instagram. If you look at my Social Blade, I'm Josh Huggett on Social Blade, you'll see our chart. You'll see our growth for like 4 years. Doesn't move. Maybe we gained 100 followers a year just because we were at weddings. Because we wanted to be accessible to everybody, because that's our brand. If you want to be a luxury high-end wedding photographer that fucking Lauren Ashley is your second shooter and you're shooting something that's going on the cover of Vogue and you didn't have to pay to be there, then you're probably going to need more followers. But again, for the average photographer, the 95% of people out there that just want to make it their job, sitting at 1,000, 2,000 followers is pretty good. People are going to come to your account. They're going to know you've got social credibility. They're going to know you've got social proof, and they're going to have less hesitance to actually book you. If someone is booking you because of your follower account, then you probably don't want them. They're going to be a piece of shit anyway. So you may as well focus on the people that like you for you. They'll see that you've got social proof. They'll learn who you are as the person, and then they'll come and hang out with you. But yeah, I do stuff on the internet. I'm Josh Huggett. I have a podcast. Not really a podcast. It's more of a chat, kind of like this. It's called Tog Talk, where we just talk about stuff. I am the Tog who does the talking, and we we talk about stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'll just say this to the audience out there. I slid into Josh's DMs. I'm like, hey man, I know that this is a long shot, but would you be interested in coming on this podcast of mine? And he like immediately was like, yeah, let's do it. And has been nothing but just super real and super kind in all of our interaction. And so I just want to say thanks. I know our audience thanks you for being here, and I'm excited to just continue watching the journey, seeing what you do, laughing at your jokes, cringing at how real you are and how much it hurts to hear some of the things you're saying, and not taking myself seriously enough when you say something that makes me say, hey, wait a second, he's talking to me, I'm doing that thing wrong. And I think that we need people like you in the industry that just lighten everybody up a little bit and get real. And I think that it's opening up these doors for these people to come in behind you and just be real. And I'm so excited to see where the photography industry is heading because of pioneers and people like you that are just saying, hey, I can show up like this. This is me, and I can build a massive, brand and just take names the whole time because of me being me and getting out of their own way. So thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, I know that you don't need this, and it just shows your character, and I appreciate you being here.
Happy to.
Oh yeah, I'll take one of those. All right. Thanks, man. That was great.
No worries.
Wow, I am on cloud 9. I'm so thankful that Josh took the time to be on today, and I hope that it helped you just kind of think through things differently with you and your brand and your business and what's important. And I have to ask you, are you focusing on the right things in your business? I hope that this episode has helped you shift your focus. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Wedding filmmakers, do you know that sinking feeling when your inbox is full and your to-do list looks more like a novel? That's where my friends at Limly come in. This CRM, designed by videographers for videographers, lets you send and receive contracts, deliver films, manage projects, invoices, and questionnaires all in one slick, intuitive platform. It even automates your project workflow from import to export so you stay on top of deadlines without lifting a finger. Stop wasting your time on tasks you can automate and focus on making more money. And as a bonus, I've got a 25% off code in the show notes below. Head there now and streamline your whole business. Limly, get back to creating, not admin.